After the heart is sorrowful, the fighting is your reward. And the dinner of earth will not help this, and feasted where there is war. Words of my mouth speak righteousness. Days of my life will tell. Taking up the works of Jehovah, amen, you will surely fail. So they keep the people and live upright. Days of my life will tell. Keep up the works of Jehovah. Thank you, so oh yeah. Thank you, so follow the footsteps of your father. Words of wisdom, words of wisdom, words of wisdom. Oh yeah, I told you. Oh yeah, I told you. Oh, 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 words of wisdom, words of wisdom. Don't give it up, live it up. Don't give it up, live it up. Don't give it up, live it up. Don't give it up, oh no, no, no. Hey, 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 hey. Give it up, give it up, now, give it up. Never give up righteousness. Oh yeah, now, give it up, son. Follow the footsteps of your father. currency under your tongue. Me say no officer, Lord, you must be mad. He only smoke cigarettes and strictly shot. Oh, whoa, see, oh, whoa, see, well, hey, under me sense, me under me sense, 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 whoa, see, whoa, 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 hey. All over me, Babylon does all over me. All over me, Babylon does all over me. Them no wrong with me. I strictly sense me. All over me, Babylon does all over me. Oh no! Oh no! See, all over me, Babylon does all over me. All over me, Babylon does all over me. All over me, wicked man does all over me. Oh no! See, whoa. Hey Babylon, you know like ganja man, but we bring the foreign currency from the island. To Babylon, nobody charge me, sir. To Babylon, nobody charge me, sir. 1 month on my lip, I pay bloody start speech. To Babylon, nobody charge me, sir. Oh no, see, no, start. All over me, Babylon is all over me. All over me, Babylon is all over me. All over me, wicked man is all over me. Oh no, see, whoa, whoa. Hey Babylon, you know I got the man, but I'm still alive. Trouble, you're in trouble. Love. Hey, watch what you say. Where you push your nose, there's trouble waiting down the road. Watch your step. Where you push your nose, cause trouble is a heavy load. Temptation wanna push you on the line. And if you never been you come to party night, it's like my own evil worth a dime. Freedom, freedom, freedom we're calling you. Freedom, freedom, you can enter. Now you know what life is all about. Get serious, give yourself a chance. Everyone takes a different avenue. Oh, you forget about the branch. You always want to be the center of the crowd. Lava, lava, talking out the loud. The innocent becomes a victim of the fall. Suffering to be tiny at the wall. Freedom, freedom, freedom of calling. Freedom, 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 freedom of calling. Freedom, good morning. This is life, trouble. You're trouble. Watch what you say. Where you push your nose, there's trouble waiting down the road. Watch your step. Where you push your toes, cause trouble is a heavy load. Temptation wanna push you on the line. Never play right. And if you never make your count to 49, this life might not be for dime. Freedom, freedom is calling. Freedom, freedom, it's calling. Freedom, freedom, freedom calling. Freedom, freedom. Now we get what life is all about. Get serious, give yourself a chance. Everyone takes a different avenue. Take it easy, brother. Everyone is listening to your song. So remember, when you call on the name of the Father, make sure you're serious. Cause it can be dangerous. Yes, it's not a joke thing. No. Don't you hustle in the name of the Father. That can be dangerous. Make sure you're serious. It's not a joke thing. No. When you say you love, make sure it's from your heart. All your life, this God is in. Know that one day you'll be caught. So when you're planning to brainwash your brother, that can be serious. That can be dangerous. But it's not a joke thing, no. And when you come as the devil's disciple and spread your evil over the people, it's not a joke thing, no. Brother man, that's from today. We'll pour to the creative spirit the great Ashe, out of which we all emerge. Ashe. Ashe. We pour to that creative spirit by whatever name we know it, whatever name you hold in your heart, in your mind, whatever name your ancestors gave, whatever name you learned as a child, whatever name you believe it to be, whatever name you believe it to be in spirit or in science. Ashe. Ashe. We pour to the first human beings who came into existence on this planet, the first human beings who raised the first structures, who cooked the first meals, who taught the first children, who had the first children, the first Africans, the first people, who stood upright, who walked, who figured out how to stay on this planet, who figured out how to pass that knowledge on to their children and their children's children, the mothers and fathers of civilization. Ashe. Ashe. We pour the next libation to their grandchildren, their children's children, those who raised the great early civilizations of Kemet and Kush and Monomotapa, the great medieval civilizations of Ghana and Mali and Songhai and Kanem Bornu. We pour to those who the great civilizations of the Igbo people and the Hausa people and the Kikongo people and the Mabara people, the great Mande civilizations, the great Kikongo, the great civilizations of Southern Africa, the Bantu people, the great civilizations of Southeast Africa, the Dinka, the Shilluk, the Noor. We pour to those millions who raised the foundations from which the world would learn what it meant to be human in the world. Ashe. Ashe. We pour to their children who, upon the arrival on the shores of people they had never seen before, found themselves captured and marched overland, found themselves perishing by the millions before they were held on the holding cells and the open air pens on the coast of West, Central, Southern, and East Africa. We pour to the ancestors who did not know as they were stripped of all clothing and sent denuded into boats, packed like animals, and strewn their bones across the floor of the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. We pour to them who in the last moment on Africa grabbed the sand and grabbed the dirt and put it in their mouths and understood that the only thing they might have to preserve their place in that continent was their memory of that place and their ability to pass it on to their children. We pour to them. Ashe. Ashe. We pour to those Africans and their children who finding themselves cast adrift in Santiago, Cuba, who found themselves cast adrift in Porto, Spain, Trinidad, and Port-au-Prince, Haiti, who found themselves cast adrift in New Orleans and Charleston and Mobile, who found themselves cast adrift in Salvador, Bahia, who found themselves cast adrift in Barbados and the archipelago that formed the wayward and the windward coast. We found them in these places learning Portuguese and Spanish and French, whose often first words was, "Oh my God, oh Madre de Dios," who found themselves praying to survive and pass on to their children the memories. We pour to those ancestors who are represented in the thousands, buried in all the square miles of where we stand, and who sit here, buried before us in 400 caskets forged of wood from West Africa with Adinkra symbols. Each one of them, each woman, man, and child, symbolic of millions. The children of those who could not be killed. We pour Ashe.
We pour to their children who somehow survived the hells of enslavement and fought for emancipation in the Caribbean, the French, British, Dutch Caribbean, who fought for emancipation in South America, who fought for emancipation in Central America, who fought the struggles we refer to as the Civil War in the United States, who came out of that, marched out of enslavement through Reconstruction, and found themselves making great migrations, eventually ending up in places like New York. Their children's children, who making a way for themselves, became our great-great-grandparents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our parents. Those who, when the first bones were discovered in this space, held their hands and said, "Stop, no more." We are here to speak for those who can no longer speak with their mouths. We pour for those ancestors, some of whom came to Howard University in 2004 and followed these caskets all the way back to New York. The ones whose names we know and the ones whose names we don't. And at this moment, as we pour this libation, I would ask anyone who feels comfortable to say the name of someone in your bloodline who is no longer physically here, but who you know made it possible for you to be here. Go ahead, let's hear the names. Haywood Carr,
Porter Griffin,
Thomas Keys Jr.,
Evelyn Glover.
We pour to the names that we hold collectively. Ganga Zumba in Brazil, Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Henri Christophe in Haiti. We pour to the great Avengers, Nanny of the Maroons of Jamaica. We pour to the great ancestors, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass. Say the names that you study. Who are the names of the ancestors that you have come to hold in your heart and your mind as you hope that you can do what they did for us, for your children and children's children? Let's say some of those famous names. Malcolm X, Lou Hamer, John Henry Clark, John G. Jackson, Jacob Carruthers. And finally, two final libations. We pour to those who make it possible for us to do what we do. We pour to these rangers who stand guardian over this sacred space. We pour to these Africans and these folks who have come from Howard University, the staff, the faculty, the administrators who brought us here today to bear witness. This is not a libation, but an affirmation, because their hearts still beat, their tongues still speak, their minds still think, and their minds still wish the best for us. We pour for all of those people who surrounded us on this journey today and made it possible for us to be here. We pour this affirmation of thanks, Ashe.
Ashe.
And finally, we pour to your children's children's children who will one day stand on this space and speak your name. Ashe.
Ashe.
It's all about the life you're living. Tell you about the good life with the good vibes. Your virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister. Everyone want to make it, but if for one slice of bread, remember, make we break it. Good life with the good vibes. Virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister. Everyone want to reach there. Don't forget to love. Please remember, care I feel it in my heart, and so I've got to talk instead of people. I rise every morning, I've got to give thanks and life in my going out and my forwarding. It's all about the life you're living. Tell you about the good life with the good vibes. Your virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister. Everyone want to make it, but if for one slice of bread, remember, make we break it. Good life with the good vibes. Virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister.
Music so nice, I got to play it twice.
Please remember, care I feel it in my heart, and so I've got to talk instead of people living better off them and then.
Anthony, be on the case.
Roughness and the total war.
It's a blessed springtime, you know. Happy Thursday to you.
Christian shown us love must be all us, but what's the then don't want to no love. Want to dethrone us, they cannot
select a hard and pull it because it's a musical Mickey Bones.
I rise every morning, I've got to give thanks and life.
We can call this our theme music for the afternoon, you know. It's all about the good life.
It's all about the life you're living. Tell you about the good life with the good vibes. Your virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister. Everyone want to make it, but if for one slice of bread, remember, make we break it. Good life with the good vibes. Virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister. Everyone want to reach there. Don't forget to love. Please remember, care. I feel it in my heart, and so I've got to talk. Instead of people living better off, them are dead off. Too much of the rat race and the tug of war. Want to look like giant, try me favor do up. Prophecy shown us love must be all us. But what's the them see the ones that don't know love? Want to dethrone us, they cannot get us off the righteous path. And we are deal with the good life, with the good vibes. Virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister. Everyone want to make it, but if I want crackers, remember, make we break it. Good life with the good vibes. Virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister. Everyone want to be there. Don't forget to love. I miss too much partiality and too much greed. Them forget the wants, them forget the needs, them forget the hungry mouth out every feed. Say them love the fruit and none nurture the seed. Oh why would you kill a good breed? Positive times are root out bad weed. Keep thanks in life, find indeed. Maintain the speed from you, take the lead. Good life with the good vibes. Virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister. Everyone want to make it, but if I want piece of bread, yo, make we break it. Good life with the good vibes. Virgin is your virgin, sister is your sister. Everyone want to reach there.
Song that lead the way night and days.
Don't forget to care. Heal me some.
And sometimes the music have to play. Music is the healing force of the universe.
Them things they no go on again. You know the same.
A great tool given to us by our creator, you know.
Them things in a go now then treat you like a in a melon that show in a condemn. Hear me summon, me want to start again. Let's come together for set a trend. Hey, good life with the good vibes. Virgin is your virgin. Never fall. Tell them say, what they gonna do when enough of them not true? Say what they gonna do, them get slew, yeah. Who do you think you are? We're living in a small world. As wicked as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As bad as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As tough as you think you are.
Uncle King Shango, Capleton, happy birthday, you know.
That day will come when I stand and see all those wicked men in the fire getting burned. That day will come when they will try to escape and there will be nowhere to run. That day will come when I shall see they handing over bombs and bayonets and bullets and guns. That day will come when Emperor Selassie shall rise the world they get to loot them from out of Islam, yeah. And the day I would love to see their face for all those evil they do to the human race. And try to take things out to place, run away to space, shoot them in the air. After one that judgment you have to get the place. When them find out that they can't escape.
There's so much that we have to cover, and you know, we're here for only 2 hours strong. Y'all already know. It's a double-edged sword. Be able to see eternity in a grain of sand, and to be able to also, you know, in the present moment, timelessness matter, and also be able to be efficient with the precious time we have together. So we give thanks for the reality of music, and music is one of those tools, one of those, the best word I can use is tools, one of those tools that we have in creation. We can do so many things all at once, you know what I mean? Take care of business. We're here on the Ancestral Rock. We're here from now until 4 p.m. I want to thank all of you who stood in Brian and I while we were on patrol. Mama Tamhida, Ross Kwame, Buddy Folks, and all the family, that has contributed thus far to our spring fund drive. As of the 15th, yesterday, we have raised 60K out of our 70K goal. And of course, absolutely, of course, even though this fund drive is officially over, you can still call in and make a pledge and help us to reach our goal and beyond our goal. WRFG is here because of the voice of the people. It is the voice of the people. And the voice of the people has helped to not only allow it, when you say voice, it's not just your vocals, what you say, but what we do with our hands. Those who remember what Adam Clayton Powell asked us, what's in our hands, and respond appropriately. Yes, the voice of the people has kept WRFG on the air for 3 years without any corporate sponsorship. Hardcore and speaking truth, the power of playing liberation music, all of that. So continue to separate the weekly players, as they were saying, continue to uplift and uphold that which upholds you. Another youth. And this is theme music for our special guest we're getting ready to bring on.
Red, gold, and green.
Yeah.
Me love to see the ghetto youth joyful.
Select the hall and pull it. Select the hall and pull it. And play it.
Ethiopia, Black African state. Yeah, man, it's what I'm saying. Well, put Babylon the fire Africa burning up. Hey, red, gold, and green. Well, me love to see the ghetto youth joyful, joyful, joyful. And mama give your birth, she say it painful. King Rastafari praise his name, go throw your wool. Upon another fire, them send me awful. Yes, them get them cup full. Ghetto youth spread full. One love black people, though it's dreadful. Babylon bully the people like bull. Remember, organize, centralize, morning and noon. Black people see you all a blossom and bloom. Room full, all full, me plate full, no what is spoon. Welcome you to share, I tell yourself we come soon. The princess sweeping out the royal prince room. Obama they at your door and you they sweep it over room. Bingy man not tell you Babylon doom. The farmers in a deal and them all listen to the throne. Man a son ball king, mama ruling moon. Run go tell your brother say we stop from Rome. Oh crazy people live the life of cartoon. And this is not the time to put your brother in a the tomb. Come here King Selassie and
stop it right there, so Sizzla Kalonji. Capleton birthdays today. Sizzla Kalonji, I think, is her strongest tomorrow. Two brothers who came and gave us a whole lot of soulful music, the spark of fire, a dormant fire in some of our and make it blaze throughout creation. We give thanks for their work.
Black African state. Yeah, man, it's what I'm saying.
Musical disc called Joyful.
Hey, red, gold,
I have to play this when I think of our special guest for this hour, because that's the mission she's on, That's the mission she's on, is to cultivate that joy amongst our youth. She's been on that frontline journey for a long time. I'm just finding out I'm today years old, because when you see this sister, she only looked like she's 25. For real. She's 40 years of experience dealing with people's natural beauty.
Uh-huh.
I think one of the first works that I was exposed to of hers is, let me turn this down a little bit. One of the first works that I was exposed to of hers is a book called I Can Do My Own
Nappy Hair.
My own nappy hair, you know what I mean? Frontline vibes. And see, we're talking about culture. What my mama Rima say that we repeat all the time up here. The fact that culture is a people's immune system. It's our immune system. So what does that mean? That means that there's elements in a people's culture, and a sustainable culture, that really helps us to not just fend off attacks, which is very important, but even more importantly, to nurture that which is good.
Yes.
Mama Queen Afua always talk about liberation through purification, because the reality is, if we just move out the blockages out the way. We are already born free and powerful.
Yes.
So we want to welcome. If I took time to read her bio, it'll take our afternoon. So we're gonna just welcome her to the space and let conversation be the bio. Our sister
Yeah.
Jamilah Shakir.
Thank you. I'm so
Assalamu alaikum, my
excited to
sister.
be here.
How are
Walaikum
you?
salam.
Long time we ain't seen you on the radio. Now
Right.
I can see you on the radio too. That's it. Next to
Yes.
your radio now.
Yes. Yes. Modern technology.
Yeah, yeah. Give thanks. How's everything? How's already been?
Everything is good. I have nothing to complain about. Everything is as it should be.
Shit.
And it's beautiful. I love it.
Give thanks. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very interesting time
Mm-hmm.
to be dwelling in right now.
Yes.
I don't know, but even speaking of time, have you noticed the what seemed like a very definite speeding up of time, like days going by too fast?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not tripping.
The
I'm me alone.
years fly by faster now. That's how I think that's just kind of the time we live in. But I've been feeling like this for a while, like for about 10 years, but it's even more sped up or feeling more sped up lately.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a serious thing, and it's some people in the Western world label it the age of Aquarius. Right? It's interesting you
Mhm.
speaking about how you've been feeling that for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things there within that. As you yourself, as a woman, first of all,
Yeah.
which is naturally a portal for the
Mhm.
truth to come through. You know what I mean? The reality. It's kind of like how the animals in the wild, they don't have an earthquake radar, but still they are able to get out of town.
Mhm.
I
They
mean,
feel it. It's
they,
feeling.
they feel. So it's the
Yes.
same thing we understand about, especially about mama, but
Yes.
just then in general about the quickening of time and
Mhm.
the quickening of clarity. You know,
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
that more
Crystal
people,
clear.
yeah, that there will be less mystery about
Mhm.
what's going on. People will be able to
Mhm.
pull off the wolves and
Opening the
see.
eyes. Yes.
So can you
That's why I keep saying
can
I
you
just
feel it?
love it.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to feel the shift. So you're here today, Sister Jamila, on serious business, and
Yeah.
I wanna get to the meat of the matter and really talk about one of your offerings, that you're involved in,
Okay.
which is called the don't tell me, because it's such a it's the lab and it's the
Mhm.
Living Well lab. I'm
Yes.
not
Yes.
looking at my
Yes.
nose, but it just really resonated with me, just in terms of that's why I had to play them songs like Good Life and all of that.
Yes. That's right. Yeah,
You
because
know,
it really is who we already are.
mm, mm,
That's who
mm.
we are, and so we just have to bring ourselves back to it,
Yeah.
and do the things that bring us back to it. So yes, the Living Well Lab is a series of programs that are created to really bring us back to who we are. One of the focus is to help reduce chronic stress and the negative effects of chronic stress, which manifests in our physical health, mental health, and emotional health.
I mean, that right there is a mic drop right there. Before you go any further,
Yeah.
I didn't want to cut your flow. I know you're gonna go deeper into
Mhm.
it, but let's just kind of unpack from right there in
Yes.
terms of you said chronic stress.
Yes.
I would like to ask first for you to kind of help us to understand what's actually defines stress. It's such a widely used word; everyone has it on their
Yes.
tongue.
Yes. So
What is stress?
stress is everything,
Mm,
right? So like even good experiences create it kind of shakes up our system. I'm going to keep it in real practical terms.
mm-mm,
Um, but what chronic stress is, it is negative stress that is prolonged
mm, mm,
over time. And for us, it's generations of prolonged stress where we carry certain stress and certain things in our genes from our ancestors. But also, when we look at the world that we live in, it's constantly a bombardment of stress,
mm,
and our body keeps score.
mm.
So
Even
when
though,
we
even if our mind isn't keeping score, right?
oh, our mind keeps score too. Yeah. But the body keeps score, and what it looks like, which is one of the reasons I even started Camp Butterfly, is we have the highest rates of death from stress related illness starting at age 20.
Wow. Starting at age 20.
At age 20, which says to me that we are carrying certain stress, but also we are
Inheriting.
adapting in an environment where we're learning certain things. Like I know I learned certain things from my mother. We had certain things that we were exposed to as we were growing up that for most people it might say, oh, I experienced that too. But nonetheless, it still creates stress, ongoing stress, which manifests as diabetes, cancer, heart disease, all of these things. And those are the things, the stress related illness is what we are dying from very early in life. And the other part of it is, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing, it's preventable.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is preventable. And so I feel like when we know certain things, we can actually adjust our lifestyle, our thinking, our beliefs, how we're feeling about certain things so that we get better results, so
Right.
that we are able to thrive for well into our hundreds.
Okay. Yeah, that's no hyperbole. So thank you for making that clear. I remember when I was saying about maybe your mind is not keeping to. I appreciate you clarifying that your mind is.
Yeah.
I'm just meaning like the conscious mind, you know. Because when
Yes.
you talk
Yes.
about being preventable,
Yeah, we forget.
then what are the signs? That's where I want to go. You know, what are the things?
Okay.
Because if we know, if we, for instance, if you driving on the road, God forbid, and you kind of running off the road a little bit, there's usually designed where it's some shaky part of the,
Yes.
it's a different type of
Yes. And if
substance
you can
to
see it
get you
coming,
right, to get your attention. So
yes. So let me tell you something. I remember a time when I would wake up and immediately, as soon as my eyes open, my feet hit the ground and I'm going like this, right? I got to go do this, got to go do that. I'm running. I'm not focused and centered. I'm just taking care of business and doing things that need to be done and handling the business. And that has become our lifestyle, especially us living here in America, where we are just so turned up all the
mm-hmm,
time. And so we immediately start out stressed out. And so the signs are, say, for example, I know a lot of people now may or may not be diagnosed with um, anxiety,
mm-hmm,
but that is one of the signs of, that our body is just taking on too much. Some of the other more subtle signs is pain. We may have toothaches, we may have pain in our back, we may have headaches, all these different things. It's such a high prevalence of people who are on pain medication, whether it's prescribed, quote unquote, legally or not.
mm-hmm,
So many people are trying to numb the pain of life.
mm-hmm,
So that's another sign where we need some kind of escape. The other thing that I really like, the simplest way to put it is, whatever the problems are that we're having in our life, wherever we're seeing problems, conflict, constant conflict, those are signs. And so we have to really just kind of be more reflective to even see those signs, to know that, oh, this is something I need to look at, that I need to start making some changes in my life, start making some changes in my relationships. But we might be in the conflict, in the problem, and it's somebody else is the culprit of it. We don't have anything to do with it, you know. Or the physical pain, we're famous for having some kind of pain. We could even be have diagnosed high blood pressure, have foot about to be amputated, but we will ignore those signs, and it just exacerbates and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So
that's why you're here today, Sister Jamilah. Thank you for making that clear. Just as a brief primer, we're solutionaries, of course.
That's
and
right.
on the other side of the coin, you can't work a solution if you don't know what you're fixing. So we need to be able to be clear about that. We're talking with our Sister Jamilah Shakir. She mentioned Camp Butterfly for girls, author, mama, just a straight Basu, a comedic yoga instructor from a long time, and just all around soul sister here with us this afternoon for a few more minutes to talk about something that's happening that is most likely, if I'm getting it right, Sister Jamilah, correct me if I'm wrong, it's an invitation to success. It's an invitation to return to nature, to nature.
Yes.
Think about the fact that homeostasis really is our birthright, And as you said, and it's a trip that we got to remind ourselves of that. That's a reflection of the type of society we're in.
Society we live in. And that it's on, like, we have the authority. Like we can change how we relate to it. And and all the chaos can continue without our participation.
You said that again. That's a mic drop right there. All of the chaos can continue.
And I feel like more and more of us are retreating from that participation.
Understanding that, real talk. I feel so too. 404-523-8989 is the number up here. 404-523-8989 is WRFG Atlanta, 89.3 on the FM dial. WRFG.org. You're tuned into the Ancestral Rock. Stay tuned to yourself. Sister Jamilah, we'll take a short break. When we come back, I want to ask you to kind of give us some of the pointers about the lab, some of the details about what's happening, which I'm sure is going to really feed two birds with one seed. We're going to talk about some of the solutions, some of the things. What are you're implementing, what you're sharing, this opportunity. And even for the people who may be in China, I need to check out where people are listening from. I know people are tuned in from across the seas and everything, wherever they are, and they can't make it this to the lab. They can still implement some of these teachings.
Yes, and also, absolutely. So we'll talk about several opportunities coming up.
All right. 404-523-8989 is the number. Rubber dub like dirt. Music like sand. Stay tuned to yourself on your station.
We live in a rough life.
Granulated. Lincoln Continental. We got Booger Mine at the sweetest singer.
What a rough old life. It's our time. We live in a rough old life. Life, like a dry and a empty well, making up a human end. What a rough old life. Every day things get harder and harder. It's getting kind of hard now. Still.
A mystical teacher sat by the seaside. It was about 5 o'clock because we heard the free ride. Anyway, the teacher was talking in stride, sitting upon a rock that was wide, warning against false pride. Come to where I reside, a woman cried. Okay, now listen to this. A mystical teacher sat by the seaside. It was about 5 o'clock because we heard the free ride. Anyway, the teacher was talking in stride, sitting upon a rock that was wide, warning against false pride. Come to where I reside, a woman cried, and the teacher replied, do you serve your fish fried? Yes, she replied, with potato salad on the side, and the teacher replied, well, where do you reside? She said, up on the hillside, it's not a far ride. If you came to have dinner, I would be so gratified. The teacher replied, it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you decide. She replied, 7 o'clock, do you like stir-fried? She was mystified and felt so dignified. The teacher was coming to the house where she resides. So she purified with pesticides, called her friends up nationwide. Some of her friends were tongue-tied, they felt so glorified. She made steamed fish, baked fish, fish that was fried, soup, steamed vegetables, potato salad on the side. You could smell the bread in the oven far and wide, natural juices and water purified. Organic fruits brought from the countryside with silver forks and knives placed side by side. You could not be dissatisfied. Looking out the window, staring at the mountainside, you would have died. 6:59, she's swollen with pride. As the moment intensified, there's a knock from outside. She opens the door, for the teacher has arrived. But to her surprise, it was a bum who cried, please, I smelt the bread from outside. One piece. And then she replied, the teacher is coming. He's soon to have arrived. You're making me look bad. Come on now, step aside. The bum then replied, when I say I'm hungry, I haven't lied. Give me some of that chicken that you just fried. She replied, chicken? Fried? No, that's for the teacher. You're not purified. Then she slammed the door and went back inside. Sat on the couch with the TV guide. She looked at the clock. It was 7:09, then 7:30. He still hasn't arrived. 8 o'clock, she's on the downside. 9 o'clock, by now she's teary-eyed. She's pissed off and her anger multiplied. She cried, then fell asleep dissatisfied. Next day, she woke up and was preoccupied with meeting the mystical teacher who lied. Where could he hide? She ran down by the seaside. He was there teaching about false pride. You lied, she replied, you lied. You said you'd be there at 7 o'clock, you lied. He replied, no, I have not lied. I came at 6:59 and you told me to move aside. I asked for bread and the chicken that was fried. And you said that I wasn't purified. She replied, I wasn't notified. I had no idea that you was the bum that cried. And the teacher sighed, then replied, this concludes our lesson on false pride.
89.3 FM, WRFG Atlanta. Your station for progressive information and hand-picked quality music, coming in hot on a Thursday afternoon. On the phone line with us, our sister, Jamilah Shakir, sharing with us about the Living Well Lab. So, Sister Jamilah, you gave us a really clear primer, again, in terms of what stress is. And of course, it might seem like a ridiculous question to ask because it's on the lips of everybody in the world. However, I think, the definition of wisdom is, as Confucius say, calling a thing by its proper name, And maybe oftentimes we may misdiagnose something, or we may substitute one thing for another, etc., etc. So now that we know, you mentioned there's stress in the universe, so it's a vibration. It's something that causes change, and it could be even in a beautiful way. But specifically, as you mentioned about, so-called negative stress, the stressors that come through painful, situations, the things that cause discomfort and, to say the least.
Imbalance is how I like to describe. Yes.
You talked a lot about how, especially as African people, it seems to be a disproportionate amount of deaths and just suffering because of this, and how that must mean that some things are passed on generationally. It's not just everybody, there's been a study done many times about the average African or even indigenous person or another, non-white race, and the average European in America, what they were born with in terms of inheritance, the money.
Right.
It's just a complete huge thing. So all of that is there. And we could probably go on for days talking about all the madness. What we love is that you've come with some solutions.
Yes. And it's already in us.
Let's talk about it.
It's already in us. So I'm going to talk about the opportunities first, and then we're going to talk about some of the things that we're going to be learning in these opportunities. So the first opportunity is this coming Sunday. We're having a virtual class and we're partnering with the Emergency Preparedness Network. And they are on a mission to help train our community in terms of emergency preparedness. And it's research based, so evidence based, in terms of the solutions that work. So we're partnering together to really focus on how to prepare our physical, mental, and emotional health in times of crisis. And that's what the focus is on Sunday. So we're going to really do a lot in terms of really, it starts right now. What's the lifestyle that we should start living right now so that when we get in terms of an emergency or some kind of crisis, we're not already up here at 10. We're living at a baseline of, in terms of, our emotional comfortability. I guess that's the word I want to use. Maybe of a 4 or a 5. We may be at different levels, but we're not in a place where, number one, we are increasing our disease and illness by our lifestyle, and we're doing the things that's going to help to just bring us to a very, like you said, the homeostasis, where we are at peace, where the blood pressure is not skyrocketed, where we're not experiencing physical pain and disease and, all of these things. And also as it relates to emotional and mental well-being, where we don't have chronic conditions that we are, through our lifestyle exacerbating. So yeah.
Exacerbating through our lifestyle. I'm looking forward, because those are points. So that's a rabbit hole, a righteous one.
It's a whole, yes,
a intriguing rabbit hole, because then the natural question is, well, what are the things in our lifestyles, whether collectively and also individually? Just before we came on, brother David D out of Oakland, shout out David D, Hard Knock Radio, was playing an interview. He had an interview with a sister who was cautioning about about normalizing AI and all of these different technologies. As an example, as a collective.
Yes.
And there might be individual habits as well. Some may have been passed down or inherited or learned through family behavior. Some may be picked up in wherever. So there's so much that we can kind of point to, I'm sure. So when is the workshop happening? Before we go,
it's Sunday from 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 1 on Zoom. And so they would have to, I think the link and the flyer is on the Emergency Preparedness Network website. I'm going to find that link right now. And we can, here we go. So it's PREP dot EPNATL.org.
Okay, and please drop that in the chat. And I'll share it with the family. Okay. This is the Emergency Preparedness
Network
website, Emergency Preparedness Network. So this is going to be coming right around the corner.
Oh, that's this coming Sunday. That's what, 3 days from now.
Right around the corner.
And it's, it's going to be a lot of really good information in terms of lifestyle changes that we can start making now as it relates to our diet and nutrition, supplements, lifestyle in terms of like nighttime routines that help regulate the nervous system. Just the whole, like we're addressing it from the physical, mental, and emotional health. There are a lot of different aspects that we can approach it, but we're going to focus on those 3 because those 3 are the biggest areas where we're seeing a lot of negative results.
And starting from there. So you said it's a series, so that's good news as well.
Yes, it's a series. Yes,
so there's going to be a recurring opportunity to sit with these things and work through some solutions.
Yeah. And not only that, because, you know, a lot of times we don't just learn stuff the first time.
Absolutely.
It has to be practice. It has to be lifestyle changes. We learn from over and over again learning. And so we are committed to the process of helping our people to really be free. That's really what the bottom line is.
Sure. That's really important.
Yeah.
404-523-8899. Thank you for joining us, Sister Jamilah. I'm pulling up their website there too. Thank you for joining us and giving us this.
There it is. Okay,
giving us
good.
the tea. It's WRFG Atlanta 89.3 in the FM dial. Before we let you go, I know you got a little time thing as well. I just want to play this announcement and come forward with some closing remarks and kind of next steps, including website, phone number, and all that kind of stuff. Stay tuned to yourself, WRFG Atlanta.
Funding for this program is made possible by listeners like you and the following sponsors. The Atlanta Jazz Festival returns to Piedmont Park Memorial Day weekend from May 23rd through May 25th. This year's lineup includes Christian McBride and Ursa Major, Donnie the Colored Section, Esperanza Spalding, Destin Conrad, Butcher Brown, Kamasi Washington, The Roots, and PJ Morton. For more information, atljazfest.com.
Yes, indeed. Jazz Fest is coming forward, and y'all already know it's always a good time out there in the park. Yeah. Music is a serious healing. Sister Jamilah, I'm going to make an open invitation. You got to come back up here, please, and be a guest DJ for a day. I know you got some music.
Oh, you want me to DJ?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
Let's do it.
That's what we like to do. You know, we like to have our people who are healers and just so hardcore with all the different stuff. We just want to hear what's on your playlist.
Yeah. Oh, come on. When are we doing it?
As soon as possible.
Okay. I'm ready.
As soon as possible. It could be as soon as next week.
Okay.
I think I have maybe somebody.
Say less.
Yes. All right. That's great. So we're going to have Sister Jamilah Shakir back to be a guest DJ. It's just been confirmed. All right. We're looking forward to that. So before we let you go, please give us some information about how those who wish to participate can get involved. Any phone number, any kind of thing, any way to continue to be in touch with you as well.
My number and text only and serious inquiries only.
All right.
Yeah. All right. They can text me here. And I will send them the link to register. They do have to register to attend the class on Sunday.
So it's okay for me to say this number out, right? Because there's people on the radio.
You can do that. Yeah.
Okay, so the number is 470-917-5469, right?
Correct.
470-917-5469. As our sister said, serious inquiries only, text only. Please and thank you. And you were saying something else.
What was I saying? I think that was it, really. You know, they can I can send them the links, the registration link, and also about our other upcoming programs. And you know, the information in the class, we will, you know, it's gonna be great because we're going to do breakout sessions. We have therapists joining and, you know, and kind of helping people process the information in terms of where they are right now in terms of their wellness for physical, mental, and emotional health. And then we are creating self-care plans and, you know, just helping people to really kind of navigate the information so that they can customize their own self-care plan and what they need to do right now to live healthy and well.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We love good tidings.
Yes,
absolutely, and we're looking forward to you coming forward as our guest DJ.
Yep,
looking forward to that, and can tell more of the story through that music. You know.
Yes. I'm going to start putting together, like, seeing which playlist I want to work from.
All right. you can just you can do a custom one for the ancestral rock. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, let's get it.
Yeah. Because I have like 50 different playlists.
Oh, wow.
Depending on what we're doing,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh-huh.
Take us there.
I'm going.
Take us to
We're
Jamila's
doing
kitchen.
it. Okay.
Take us to Jamila's kitchen, all right? So we can get the vibes and we can have some of the healing music and the
Yes,
inspiration that you get.
Ashe. I'm
Good
excited.
thing. Thank you for joining us, beloved.
And thank you for having me and
It's our
always
pleasure,
having an open door for us.
for sure.
Thank you.
Much love.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. 404-523-8989 is the number. 404-523-8989. That's Sister Jamilah Shakir. We're very especially excited about this next hour as well because we have another kind of blast from the past that we want to share with y'all this afternoon. But when we say blast from the past, it's not like just memory for memory's sake, you know. It's really something that feels so relevant and probably even more relevant. A discourse that feels even more relevant now than when this conversation took place a few years ago. It's a conversation with Sister Leah Penningman, who, among many other things, is the author of Farming While Black. Farming While Black is, man, I don't know what to say about that book other than just straight up one of the most inspirational pieces I've ever come across, just in terms of, hold on one second, sorry about that, 1 second. One of the most inspirational pieces I've ever come across in terms of just giving the spiritual and the tangible. I feel funny about, sorry, I feel funny about, distinguishing those things. However, we know that there's the unseen and the seen. There is, and they're both very practical. And Sister Leah really goes there in this book. So everything from resources about land, opportunities, and what to look for when getting ready to steward land, to business templates and best practices, to the spiritual aspect of Mama Earth and some of the ways the indigenous people have interacted with her, etc., etc., etc. So we're not going to talk too long. We're going to get ready to play this interview with Sister Leah Penningman, and we'll share some more thoughts as we move along. 404-523-8989 is the number. Check it out. A brother, Babalao, Awo Fashima, right here, sitting in this seat where I'm sitting now, talking on a Friday actually, and he was just talking about spring, from his perspective and his tradition, as a period of when the gestation period is over. And, as we say all the time, life is a farm, so we realize that fundamental principles of agriculture, so many of which you cover in this book, really are reflective of fundamental principles of human life, community. You know what I mean? So it's always such a wonderful thing to draw the analogy. But I want to ask you what spring means to you, just to start off our conversation. What does spring mean to Leah? Let's on a basic.
What does spring mean to me? I mean, I think it's no accident that so many of our spiritual traditions look at spring as a time of liberation. So my family intersects with Vodun. We intersect with the Yoruba religion, clergy in both. We intersect with Judaism. And the springtime is when we relive the journey from the narrow places into freedom. And for years, we had this Afro Seder where Black Jewish people and Black folks who love the poetic beauty of that festival would retell and reenact the story of Harriet Tubman on the Underground Railroad. And it's one of the highlights of my children's growing up. They talk about how every year they want to see who dressed up as Harriet Tubman, who came in to tell stories to them, who came in to lead them in songs. Wow. So for me, springtime is very much about freedom, and the earth is echoing that. I mean, the earth, I will tell you, I've been farming 25 years, and every time when we come to the end of winter, I really do not believe that the leaves will come back. I do not believe that if I put a seed in the ground in my greenhouse, it's going to pop up with some fresh green leaves. And it does. Every year it defies my skepticism. And if that's possible, for life to emerge from this deep, seemingly unshakable sleep, then it means that all types of hope are possible. So also my birthday's in spring. So, there's that too. It's just my favorite season. I love it.
Oh, your birthday's in spring. Mine too. Mine's coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Happy birthday.
On the full moon this year.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, same to you.
I won't ask you how old you're going to be because that's rude.
23.
Perpetually 23, you said?
I didn't say perpetually. I just said 23. You added the perpetually part. It's just my 4 daughters and grandson is what added to the little. They were painting the other day at my house, and I never got to wash off the paint. So it is what it is. And I'm certainly not going to ask you how old you were. But I mean, there's so much. I don't even know where to start with this. I mean, because, well, first of all, let me give a testimony. after reading your book, one of the things that I have not finished reading it, to be honest. So rich, I haven't even finished reading it. But when I cracked it open, and I got to the portion, I think it's chapter 3 or 4, about honoring the spirits of the land. That just spoke to me so profoundly. I mean, from the very top, you have that kind of language and that consciousness that's weaved into your storytelling and your information giving and all of it anyway, right? So by the time I got to that, it was the anniversary of our Shamba. We had the soft grand opening on March the 7th last year. And right after that, a global pandemic was declared, like 2 days later. So any kind of, I mean, it was a beautiful, there were so many silver linings in that I'm sure you can attest to. But one of the things I'll bring to light right now is that for years in Atlanta, we have been, and just all over, the community, we have been attempting to reintroduce our family to the land after so much trauma has happened on the land and all that, all that you're well aware of. It's 4:44 in the afternoon too. But so something miraculous happened after that pandemic. It's like instinct kicked in. Just at the offset, we had to stop what we were doing in terms of our regular crop plan. We were going to South Georgia to get seedlings for people. People just started all of a sudden remembering. They were forced to remember that, okay, well, we have a mama that we can depend on. And we know clearly we have a system that we are a part or surrounded by that we can't depend on, And the mama is Mama Earth. So it's just been wonderful. But so on the weekend of our anniversary, I was inspired to go and go visit our Saint Carver, Dr. George Washington Carver, who is buried right there in Tuskegee. I've been to Tuskegee several times before, and I didn't even realize that he was buried there. I mean, I knew right on the campus, I was looking around like where, I was trying to find a house where he lived and all this kind of stuff. But long story short, it was so in sync with what you shared in that book, in terms of honoring the spirits of the land and getting permission, to break ground every year. So I'd like to ask you to expound on that. I'm not going to actually go through the book in a linear fashion, but that's something that really spoke to me. And I wanted to see what was really on your heart as you were sharing that.
Yeah, asking permission, I think, is something we're not used to because of the colonial frame that many of us are raised in. But when I was living in Ghana, West Africa, as a young person in my early 20s, I apprenticed myself to the Queen Mothers, who are stewards of the environment, the culture, the orphans, the history of the community. And they asked me one day in my Krobo name, they said, Amidede, is it really true that in the US, a person will put a seed in the ground and they won't sing or dance or pour libations or even say thank you to the ground, right? And they expect the seed to grow. Right. And I admitted that was definitely true by and large. And they said, that's why you're all sick, right? You're all sick because you treat the earth like a commodity and not like a relative. So the practice of so many of our lineages is actually to see the earth as an orisha, to see the earth as a deity. And so, of course, you're going to ask permission. You're not just going to cut down a whole forest, dig out a swamp, move things from here to there without asking. And what that looks like for us might be different from what it looks like from you all. But, I'll use a divination tool like Obiabata, which is a Yoruba tool, or dream work, a Vodun dream work called Illumination, or even go for Ifa divination to ask, is it okay with the earth? Is it okay with Orisha Oko, the Orisha of the farm, or Azaka, the Lua of the farm, for us to do these plans that we have? And if we get a no, then we heed it. So, like, for example, there was a swamp on our property that we wanted to dig into a beautiful pond, right, for many years. And we got no, until the 9th year. And the 9th year, we got a yes on the condition that we integrate the worship of Nana Buruku, who is the guardian of the forest waters and the great grandmother of the universe. So that's what allowed us to move forward, is having that mutual relationship.
So yes, beautiful, beautiful. Now, you mentioned in terms of your family, even like on a personal level, getting to know the sister who channeled this great work, that there are so many different spiritual traditions intertwined. Talk about that a little bit, because it's really reflective in the book. And again, it's something that resonates with me completely, you know. I mean, I'm Ras Kofi, you know, I'm a Muslim, you know what I mean? I honor the Orisha. I see it as just all one, you know, and I realize that it's just dividing, you know, the only lie is separation. That's just my understanding of it, you know. So it's very easy for me to see the connection, especially when I'm having my hands in the soil all day. So what's that like for you?
Well, I love that you say it's all one and the only lie is separation. I resonate with that. So I know it's not always a popular viewpoint, but I will say I was raised double PK, meaning both my parents are preachers, Christian preachers, and was deeply committed to the church, deeply committed to the Bible. Granted, a very progressive interpretation. I mean, they're Unitarian Universalists. They're always thinking about love and compassion and inclusion. You know, so that was the frame that I grew up in. And then in reaching for my own ancestry, my own people, I was a member of the Black church, different Black churches for a while, AME. Then when I traveled to Ghana, got involved in Vodun, studied Vodun in Haiti. I met my spouse who's Jewish and got to study Judaism and found that was deeply intersecting with both. I mean, there's a lot of Hebrewisms in West Africa. Then joined the Orisha community. And I love all of it. You know, one of my best friends is a 75-year-old Buddhist monk who I like to hang out with and worship with. So I do think one of my favorite parables, and I learned this through the Unitarian Church, but it probably predates that, is the story of the blind folks and the elephant. I don't know if you've heard this one, where, you know, different people who cannot see go up and touch parts of the elephant, and the elephant represents God. So one of them touches the ear and says, okay, well, God is like a big fan, right? Another one touches the trunk and say, well, God is like a hose. Another one touches the leg. God is like a tree trunk. Another one touches the tail. God is like a whisk broom. But of course, all of them are seeing like one facet of this being that they cannot conceive of from the limited vantage point. You also can say it like the finger that points to the moon is not the moon. So all of our religions, as I see it, are pathways to help us understand the unknowable, but no one of them holds the entire truth.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as obvious as it may seem, how did this inform your work in terms of this book? How did this inform that? How did this conscious carry inform that? Especially for the people who haven't read it yet, because I mean, for anyone who reads the book, that's an obvious question.
To be real, I wasn't even sure. I felt most terrified about including that part. So I mean, I think I did, because there's a lot of ways that it's very intimate. It's very our knowing of the divine is very intimate, and you know that most of the book is practical. How do you plant carrots? How do you run a youth program? You know, how do you XYZ on your farm? And to make the decision to infuse it with the breath of life, the neshima, the meaning of what that really is to me, means exposing some of myself to the general public in a way that a lot of authors might not choose to do. You know, I could just put a bunch of facts in a book and it would be perfectly fine as a book. But I was hoping to be able to find others who resonate with the idea that farming is actually about cultivating a sacred relationship and not just about pulling food from the earth.
I mean, you absolutely achieved that. For real. Yeah, I'm sure you could have done it without that, but they just make it real, you know. Like I say it all the time, like if I ever got that opportunity, this is my 26th year on the radio, and if I ever got the opportunity,
I thought you was 23.
You see, you got me. I mean, I started in my mama's womb. What can I say?
There you go.
But if I ever got to interview Bob Marley, I would talk to him about football. Because I know that's what he's passionate about, you know? If I got to interview somebody like Malcolm X, I would talk to him about photography or something, you know? Just get into the personal essence of this person who is a real living being, because there's so many times people who are, you know, are sheroes and heroes, we put them not just on a pedestal, but in a kind of in human context, you know, like they just have this vibe about them that's just supernatural and we can't even relate, you know. So I mean, so I think that you really did us all a favor by including that. So I'm glad you pushed through whatever thoughts you had and included it. The proverb that you used to start it is so profound. To start the chapter 3, which is called Honoring the Spirits of the Land. I'm gonna try to pronounce it. Blefonoke ina ni hlu se yomoyo ngo tovi kepale. I don't know if it's a short E or a long E, but the white man says he is rich, but the old lady with her black bead surpasses him. Real talk.
Real talk.
I mean, like real talk. Real talk. Give thanks. So I know we're gonna continue to talk about the spirits of the land through the book. Now, when you started off the book, you started talking about finding land and resources, and of course, it should go without saying that that's the fundamental. I mean, that this is all about the land. You know, the soil is the fundamental component, most important component in agriculture. Can you tell us a little bit of your story, how that was for you when you were attempting to first get on the land?
Yeah, so thank goodness for youthful naivete, because, you know, we were in our early 20s, really bright-eyed and excited to finally start our own farm, a farm that would be accountable to the communities in the south end of Albany that asked us to provide food. And we didn't have a lot of money, so the only land we could get was this mountainside soil that was quite eroded, degraded. We bought it from a logger. They had pulled all the valuable trees off the lands, and there was no infrastructure, no septic, electric, water, internet, buildings, you know, and even the soil was gone. So it took us many years and a lot of grit, a lot of frustration, determination to be able to build that up. And the soil in particular, just to back up a little bit, how soil gets the way it is that when European colonizers came to what is now the United States, within just one generation of anywhere that they farmed, on average, they would destroy about 50% of the soil's organic matter, which might be like, what, soil chemistry? But, you know, carbon belongs in the soil, not up in the atmosphere. And so they were essentially, by turning the soil over, damaging the soil, putting CO2 into the atmosphere, which started global climate chaos in the 1800s, before the Industrial Revolution. So the work of repairing the soil is putting the carbon back into it. And the way we do that is through our ancestral practices, like raised beds of the Ovambo people, like cover cropping of Dr. George Washington Carver, like composting of Cleopatra and the women of Ghana with their African dark earth. So we started doing these methods, right? These ancestral methods. And bit by bit, we saw that carbon increase to the point where now, you know, our farm has about 10+% organic matter. That's indigenous levels of organic matter for this region. And it has been very, very powerful because, you know, the officials with the U.S. Department of Agriculture that come out and do your farm survey and enroll you as a farm, they said, you can't grow vegetables out here. This is not good land for that. It's too rocky, it's too degraded. And but we grow beautiful food. We grow beautiful food because of bringing that soil back to health. And I think there's some poetry in there too, because so many of our communities are considered castaway or degraded, throwaway. And what is it when you invest love, when you invest cultural practices, and what are the ways that what can be seen as degraded or lacking can be brought into vibrancy and productivity and beauty. So I hope that the way we treat the soil also, we try to amplify in the way that we treat one another in our community.
I see. That reminds me of one of the profound realities that I got to find out when I really started farming hardcore is like aromatic herbs, for instance. You know, these medicinal herbs that they heal us with their aroma, and then also with different properties that they have. Most of them prefer poor soil. And it's like, it's so profound to me, you know what I mean? Because we hear talking about all this, the power of soil and how we need to, you know, implement more organic material and all this kind of stuff to make the soil more alkaline. But most of those herbs that actually are huge catalysts of our healing, they prefer poor soil. And it's just amazing to me that whole principle, how that works, you know?
Yeah, it's astounding to me. In fact, I have to hold myself back. We have this beautiful part of our farm. I'm looking out at it right now. It's called the Jardin la Cour, which means house garden in Haitian Creole. And it's essentially intercropping where you have fruits mixed in with these aromatic perennial herbs. And the fruits and the trees, they want that nice rich layer of nitrogenous compost every year. And I feel so compelled to add that to the herbs as well, just out of habit. But I know, like you know, that they don't actually want that. All they want is some wood chips, little organic matter, some slow release that they're going to take care of. And they won't do well if I give them too much nitrogen or phosphorus or richness. They're just adapted to the place. And that's really powerful. And I feel grateful to them for that.
Yeah, serious thing. And like you said, it's very poetic. It tells us a lot about life. It tells us a lot, it gives me a lot of hope and encouragement, you know, as an organizer, you know, as a nation builder, you know what I mean? We're looking at our landscape, looking at our social landscape, and how much trauma we still go through in many different ways. That it's not something that there's just an opportunity for us to rise above all of this, but it's not just a kind of a random willy-nilly opportunity that's kind of floating in the ethers. It's something that we have practical ingredients for, you know, and that we can make use of.
Ashe.
So finding land and resources, a little bit more about this, because again, this book straight up, I can't say enough, it's a workbook, you know, it's a reference. You did so much in terms of researching, you and your team researching various examples, various opportunities, you know, various references that people can look to see, and even kind of what I love about how you wrote this book too is also not only you give charts, you know, you give a lot of references, like I said, in terms of the types of loans. Like for instance, there's a part where you're talking about different ways of gathering material resources, right? And looking at various types of grants and microloans and disaster assistance programs and all this. How long did it take you to get this book together?
Well, there's two answers to that: a lifetime and 40 days. So it was 40 days to write the book, which is very fast to write a book that long.
40 days?
But I wrote it over one winter. I was teaching still, high school. So I only had 2 days a week, 8 or 9 hours during the winter months when the farm was off. And I will tell you, though, it was a channeled book, so it just came. But also, why I say a lifetime is because so much of the information was information that I and we at Soulfire Farm and our comrades in the movement had compiled. And we had maybe a little bit over here in a youth workshop, or a little bit over here in a business planning workshop, or a little bit from a talk. So it was assembling and then weaving together these little pieces of information, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And it's still completely amazing that it took 40 days, even in the compilation process, you know. But like you said, it's channeled, you know. It was channeled.
And it was fun. I didn't even think of myself as a writer. I was really blessed to be able to write a few articles for Yes Magazine prior to the book, which is what led to some of the relationships and encouragement around the book. And, you know, for us introverts, and I'm a serious introvert, farming is a real healthy thing to do, and writing is a real healthy thing to do. So it was a way that I felt that I could express myself without the shyness and awkwardness of social speech, and very liberating for me. So I'm looking forward to hopefully more writing to come.
Give thanks. For those of y'all joining us live on Instagram, we're taping this for our show, The Ancestral Rock, which airs on WRFG Atlanta. We're speaking with author, mama, community builder, wife, and then some, Leah Penniman, who is the author of a book called Farming While Black. I hear some of y'all asking in the chat. I'm gonna keep on holding it up. Soulfire Farm's Practical Guide to Liberation on the Land. And I can say it's absolutely a practical guide. And sometimes, Sister Leah, practicality, the word practical is used to almost say, well, void of spirit. And
in our world, though, that's practical is absolutely involved in spirit, right? It ain't no, you know what I mean? So it's a practical guide, you know, for the spirit person, as well as for somebody who is more just dealing with the tangible day-to-day stuff in life. One of the things that caught my attention, I just quote a little bit of it, a section from the chapter called Finding Land and Resources, Frugality, Patience, and Faith. It says, quote, our ancestors purchased 16 million acres of land with the meager wages they saved through sharecropping, tenant farming, and hiring themselves out on Sunday as laborers. Through thrift and restraint, they gathered the resources necessary to get off the plantation and farm with dignity. Then you go on to say, while I am extremely privileged relative to the hardships endured by my ancestors, it is also true that I was raised in relative poverty with no inherited wealth. By living collectively, limiting expenses, and setting aside a large portion of my wages, I was able to save over $20,000 each year for 10 years. Wow. End quote. $20,000 a year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was working as a public school teacher in Worcester, Massachusetts, and later in Albany. And my starting salary was around 38, 40, something like that. And then, you know, went up a little bit each year. And my spouse and I, and later on our children, we lived in, I didn't really tell this story, but we lived in this anarchist collective on the edge of town, the whole family in one room, you know, pooled expenses, shared meals, riding bikes everywhere, that type of thing. So, you know, we only paid a few $100s a month for everything. So we would just save. And that's in part what allowed us to purchase the land. Now, I will say that we thought we were all fancy being able to pay cash for land. There's a lot more expenses that come up later. So we did have to borrow and, you know, side hustle and figure that out to get the project up and running. But we did, you know, pay cash, sign white man's papers, and understand how problematic the idea of ownership is anyway. But that was the process that we did to wed ourselves to these 80 acres in Mohican territory in upstate New York.
Oh, powerful. You said 80 acres.
80 acres. 40 acres and a mule times 2. Well, it's 40 acres and a goat, but it's basically.
Y'all purchased this on cash.
We purchased it cash back in 2006. And I know that, you know, depending where you live, 80 acres might be millions of dollars. I mean, up here, land is between $1,000 an acre, maybe $2,000 an acre. So you're able to, it's more attainable, let's say. In some ways, you pay for what you get for. I mean, we're very remote. There's Trump flags flying all around us. You know, the soils take a lot of work. We're not near no public transportation. We can't even get an Uber out here. You know, no pizza delivery. So I understand why people would pay more for land that's more accessible to their families, communities, and all of that. But this is where we are. The land has claimed us. We have claimed our place here, and we're going to keep on building.
Anything you would do different in retrospect in terms of the acquisition of the land, in terms of that portion?
Yeah. Well, I'll put it this way, how I would advise people who are thinking of getting lands, because I try to avoid regret. I think that things happen for a reason. And, you know, even though we didn't choose the easiest path, that we chose the right path for us. And also, it turns out to be a lot more affordable to actually purchase a property that has a farm already on it, a building, a barn. You know, even though that ticket price might be more shocking initially, what we learned is when you're building infrastructure from scratch, there's going to be a lot more expenses, unanticipated expenses. So usually I'll advise people, if you really want to farm or live somewhere, even though that vacant land seems to call, you know, really think about getting something that already has electricity, septic, running water. You're going to save yourself a lot of headache. Also, there's so many farmers who are aging out and looking for someone to take over their properties, and maybe their children or grandchildren are not interested. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to save Black farms. So if you're willing to slow down a little bit, get into relationship with an elder, work out, you know, a lease to own or some kind of arrangement where you're slowly taking over the property to try to keep that property in the family, that's also very wise. But sometimes the youthful energy can be impatient, and we don't want to deal with that or anybody else's opinions or or whatnot. And I was definitely there too in my 20s. But I think if I were to go back and advise my younger self, I'd say, slow down, find an elder who's got some land, see what you can work out. In the long run, that's going to be of more benefit to the community than building up from scratch.
Indeed, makes sense. And it's still, I mean, that's a powerful accomplishment that y'all made. And as you said, you had to do other things to once the land was purchased to establish everything else that takes to run a farm, especially in relative isolation. But I mean, you did it. So
we're here. I mean, when you look behind me and you see this, I think you can see the beams and the wood. I mean, we built this house with our own hands. Our children, the adobe walls.
You're tuned into WRFG Atlanta 89.3 FM, listening to an interview from about 5 years ago with his sister Leah Penningman of Soul Fire Farm. She authored a book called Farming While Black, serious book, and we're just going over some of the book. I don't know what's happening. We'll attempt to get that straight in terms of the signal connection and come forward with more of that. In the meantime, in between time, say music off a run. Like dirt, you get your money's worth. This is WRFG Atlanta, 89.3 FM. Sounds like the ancestral rock. This song been on my mind all day. So I'm going to play it for you right now. And I hope you like it like I like it. Love it. A true. Tell them Barry Simon a fool and his money shall soon part. Reaching out to our lion heart.
Live 80 acres might be millions of dollars. I mean, up here, land.
know, Mr. Hammond. Music artists to make it bounce and twist, played under the moonlight and even the sunlight mist, y'all.
So gimme, Jaja, whoa, whoa, no, that's whoa. So, who make your mountain? Who makes your trees, boy? Who makes your birds? And who makes your bees? Who makes your sunshine? Who makes your moonshine? Nobody but Jaja. You really want to wine. Only Jaja can tell, whoa. Nobody could have never know, whoa. He made the nose to smell, whoa. Only wicked men will go to hell, boy. We'll go to hell, we'll go to hell. So, we'll go to hell, we'll go to hell. Who makes the mountain? Who makes the sea, boy? Who makes the rain? And who makes the bees? Who made the star shine? And who made the moon shine? Nobody but Jaja. He really wants to wine. Only Jaja can tell, whoa. Even he knows to smell, whoa. Only picking up to go to hell, boy. We'll go to hell, we'll go to hell. So, we'll go to hell. No, boy. No down, no down. Only Jaja can tell, whoa. He made it knows to smell, whoa. Only picking am I your own? I say believe people business. Hey, the people business alone. The people business alone. The people business alone. The people business alone. You in my way, like a rolling stone, like stick and stone. Cannot break your bone. David give a lion with the sling and the stone. Samson kill the Philistine with the donkey jump on. So the people business alone. The people business alone. The people business alone. The people business alone. You carry your skull. You carry your skull. But that's not the use for your teeth and your tongue. I say like your humble sweet, you jam my boy like a bell. And as anything happens, you are the first one to dance. Sandra say. Sonia said. Sandra say. Them say. Man call Admiral Tibet on the rhythm. You know, we can't play that rhythm one time. We have to play it 3 times because it's niceness. And it's priceless. Reaching out to every newborn baby in the land. And all the ancestrals treading on. Sunlight in the day and the moonlight in.
Yo, pull up selector. They say live, you know. Live like it's 1945.
The sweet of the sunlight in the day and the moonlight in the night. Fishes are dancing in the rivers rolling by. There is still a ghost time until another baby cry. I wonder why some people say, oh yeah, life goes on. Life goes on. Life goes on. Cause every day another baby's born. Oh, another loving to be defined. Sweet, sweet memories on my mind. They gotta take some time. Cease from war, the killing and crime. Oh, life goes on. Life goes on. Life goes on. Cause every day another day is born. Oh well. The sweet of the life that you can live. and the things that you can give. Remember every day to think positive and live. Life goes on. Life goes on. Life goes on. Cause every day another day is gone. Oh well, and if you have the money to go to the party, and even if you can't afford the latest style, for every good thing in life gotta take some time. Life goes on. Life goes on. Life goes on. But every day another day is gone. Love the moon, love the sun. Yes, love is happiness and when you feel it. Love will love it. Love will also forevermore. Yes, love is happiness. I know them all the ruby diamonds will burn. I'll say we miss you, my baby girl. I love it to my heart and I love it to my soul. I knew one day we'd meet for a date. Baby girl. Somehow I've always cherished that day. Look at it now, we met by the chance. If it's alright, then let's start a romance. Give me for your loving. Listen me want for your loving. Baby girl, love for your loving. Listen me want for your loving. Hear this, I'm going to love you from morning straight to evening. Love you from evening straight to dawning. Right, I know me have the love discipline. Only wanna rub you with enough timing. Be together, we belong. Always belong. In a moment, all our wills is strong. Very strong. Be together, we belong. Always belong, baby girl. In a moment, all our wills is strong. Baby. All the time together. Living on lives for one another. Baby, I always love you. What darling please. It's nothing like we never forget. 15 years, what happiness. To hold up our head, now we are God bless. No hard and no farm, can run from this. I'm going to hold the squeeze you and love you up the best. I love you to my heart, I love you to my soul. Oh, I love you to the never go. Baby girl, I love you very, very bad. I will give you good loving, I'll never make you sad. Be together, we keep on moving.
Step it up, y'all. Rubber Dub, like saying, this is the ancestral rock.
From watching people coming.
Jeez. Reaching out to all the people watchers out there. We're not talking about the red eye them, you know. If you're like me, you just appreciate love humanity. And you love to look upon God's creation. Reaching out to all the nation, west, north, east, and south.
My kids from watching people coming to and fro. But if you ask them where they're going, half of them don't know. If they're wrong, think I'm crazy, but they don't realize that I'm just grooving out of life. Keep on grooving, grooving till I die. See a river flowing by me.
It's going into the yellow, it's distorting. And it's going into the red up here.
I am feeling.
Yes, bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, so you just bring it down, man.
Oh, you know my feeling.
That's so sad.
And they're always my house. They're always complaining that this show, the volume drops. And my father, the keen listener, of the WRFG all day long.
It's because your levels are all over the place.
No, but I'm saying it drops. I'm saying it drops, not just like one level or one song or whatever.
Your show in particular, because of all the different sources you use,
Right.
like your levels are all over.
So this is the gauge, though, right?
This is for the this is what is going into this is going into stream, FM, and archives. This should never go any higher than the green.
Right.
Just because it distorts. This is for the stream, and this should never go any higher. Should never go into the red.
Okay.
Yellow is okay here, but never red. And here, no yellow.
Okay.
It's a weird balance.
All right.
But also, like, because if you're using like YouTube and all kinds of things, if you were to look at a file of your show, and your show in particular, your volume's all over the place.
Yeah, I understand the different sources thing, because you got to steady adjust it.
Yeah.
You got to download something. Yeah, my thing stopped on this, so my feed,
So we're not gonna be like live in here. We're just gonna set it up for this particular file.
Okay. Yeah, this stops on me. The Wi-Fi just cuts off.
Well, there's an Ethernet cable right there. If you want to use it. It's been there for a long time. This right here. If you have a way to plug in this, you can use the Ethernet.
Okay.
I can't guarantee consistency with the Wi-Fi because a lot of different people use it.
Understood.
But this is your main line directly in. And if you plug that in and turn off Wi-Fi on your computer, you'll be guaranteed to only be using that.
Perfect. Yeah, we got to switch the song real quick.
If you're good, actually, if you could just make sure that right at 4 you play that.
89.3 FM, WRFG Atlanta. Just grooving out, you know. We have a few minutes left, a couple minutes left in the program, and Crossroads is coming forward soon. Just stay tuned to yourself and your station for progressive information and handpicked quality music. I want to leave you with this. Well, we never leave you. You know how it goes. We'll be here forever and ever and ever. We just wanted to play some music today to compliment our good sister, Leah Penningman, and what she was sharing with us. As a matter of fact, Farming While Black, again, that was one of our most, speaking for myself, one of my favorite interviews I've done in a very long time. This was from a few years ago. We're going to play the original because that's how we do on the Healers, on the Ancestral Rock, on WRFG in general. You have to set the trend, you know. But thanks to our sister Leah Penningman for joining us, and we give thanks to run that replay. Of course, it's a relevant conversation because it's time to grow some food. If we don't stop eating, we don't stop growing. This one right here.
So, Christopher, the way it is, because it's still saying 1 hour, it should say 3 hours. So how do you make it so there's no one to play both?
No, well, it's just this first file. It is 3 hours of audio. It's just this first file is only 1 hour.
So it's going to automatically play the next one?
That's correct. Because you have it in the queue. It's going to play Crossroads, and then right when Democracy Now! Happens, it'll play both.
And it's lined up right.
It's lined up right. All Kofi's got to do is just hit play on the Windows Media Player right up here.
Does it play do we have a music?
Yep, it's got everything. Yeah. If you want, like, you can fade down, close out of that, fade it back up and hit play.
Cool. Let's clean this up.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Sunshine in the daytime. Moonlight every night. That keeps me moving. Keep me grooving, yeah. Grooving till I die. Keep on grooving. Don't stop moving.